This is one of those stories where I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't even know where to go because there's so many different directions you can go. The firing of Frank Reich is an interesting enough story, but it has been completely overshadowed. You're right, by this Jeff Saturday thing.
Hey, if Jeff Saturday is a head coach in the NFL, why can't I be the head coach at Michigan? Zero head coaching experience at the pro or collegiate level.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
May be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Big news out of Indianapolis. They fire Frank Reich. Absolute stunner. They hire randomly ESPN analysts. I mean, obviously, I know this guy's a great player, former great player, but he's got zero head coaching experience in Jeff Saturday. Zero head coaching experience at the pro or collegiate level, and yet here we go. He's going to be the interim head coach there for Indianapolis. More than the firing, Matt, the hiring of Jeff Saturday set social media ablaze.
Yeah, this is one of those stories where I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't even know where to go because there's so many different directions you can go. Honestly, the Colts have kind of sort of been like the Panthers in a way that they've cycled through a different quarterback every year. Now it's been theoretically better guys, right? Like Phillip Rivers, better than Teddy Bridgewater. Carson Wentz, probably better than Sam Darnold last year. Like Matt Ryan, I guess maybe better than Baker Mayfield, right? It's a slightly better, but it's the same sort of carousel thing and no surprise, those are the two teams that have fired their head coach in the middle of the season. So all that to say, like, the firing of Frank Reich is an interesting enough story, but it has been completely overshadowed. You're right, by this Jeff Saturday thing.
Everyone was going absolutely nuts. I mean, and again, because the Saturday thing, it's like, it's so many different layers to it, right? Like, okay, you've got the whole backdrop of the Brian Flores thing, right? Like, you've got this whole backdrop of like minority candidates not really getting a fair shake. Then we go, okay, here's Jeff Saturday. I mean, and again, I get that he's a great player or was a great player, and he's a all-timer when it comes to Colts, but at the same time, it's like, what are we doing here, man? Like, we're really hiring a TV analyst to be an actual NFL head coach?
This is the first time I think in NFL history, or at least like in the last, I think since like the 60s, that somebody has been hired that wasn't on the official coaching staff. And, they've got John Fox on the coaching staff there. They've got Gus Bradley. Former NFL head coaches. And I think what this clearly signals, it signals a lot, right? And you're so right to bring up the minority part of this, like the minority coaches to feel like they don't get a fair shake at this stuff. You're totally right to bring it up because people are going to feel that way about it. I also think, like, I wonder what guys on the roster feel like, like if they wanted to do sort of,
oh my God,
I would love to know what, guys on the roster think right now, with the way this season has gone. When the announcement came out from Adam Schefter, one, I thought it was absolutely objectively hilarious that he felt the need to unironically include his high school coaching credentials. What? But he also noted in there that he has been he's been consulting with the team. That can literally mean, like, we've seen stuff like this happen before. My colleague at Yahoo brought up the point, Frank Schwab, like, remember when, or it might have been Charles Robinson, I can't remember. It was Charles Robinson, now I remember right. Made the point that when they fired Dave Gettleman, they brought Marty Herney back as the GM. They said, like, oh, well, he's been consulting with the team. And I think Charles asked somebody, well, what does that mean? Oh, well, he's been on the phone with Jerry Richardson, the old owner of the Panthers. Like, so basically, like, what this probably means is, like, yeah, Jeff Saturday and Jim Irsay probably get on the phone and talk. And that's like, he's consulting with the team. That's what that can mean. So I think what this signals is that Jim Irsay has wanted Jeff Saturday to come work for him for a long, long time. And this was basically his way to do it. Because if he wanted to hire like a franchise icon and just like make it a feel-good story, Reggie Wayne is on the coaching staff. He's the receivers coach on this team.
That's right.
It's exactly like the Josh McCown thing, which we know people have rightfully had feelings about. The minority part of it, the part about like this guy has no NFL or college coaching experience. It's the same damn thing, but Nick Caserio and maybe the ownership there in Houston, they wanted Josh McCown. But they wanted to bypass all the other stuff and just make Josh McCown the head coach. They couldn't do that because of the climate with the Brian Flores lawsuit last offseason. They will try again. That story is certainly not over. But that's clearly what's going on here, is that Jim Irsay wanted Jeff's, like, this is not I think people, and I've thought about, I might have even said it at different times, like, oh, it's a tanking thing. I don't think it's a tanking thing. I think he literally wanted Jeff Saturday to be the coach, and like, this is his way to do it. And I bet you if they even go, I don't even think they got to go 500, but if they're just not an outright joke the rest of the way, even if they are an outright joke the rest of the way, I bet you Jeff Saturday is like the leader in the clubhouse for this job in the offseason.
What it does, it completely trivializes what head coaches do. It's not like a rah-rah thing. This is not like, it's not like college where like you can go and you can get away with being a rah-rah guy. And as long as you recruit 5-star guys and put better athletes on the field, the X's and O's part about being a coach at like the non-professional levels is not, I think I'm not speaking out of turn. It's just not as important. Like you could be the best X's and O's ball coach in the world. If you've got a bunch of, no-star recruits, a bunch of walk-ons going up against Michigan, I could coach Michigan and we're destroying that team, right?
Don't push it.
Hey, if Jeff Saturday is a head coach in the NFL, why can't I be the head coach at Michigan? Tell me that right now. Why can't I? What are the chances that Irsay reached out to Peyton? Pretty good, right? Like he had to have reached out, right? At least just to get a feeler. Like Peyton, are you interested? Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I'm sure the phone call was made. I'm sure the phone call was made. Although the only thing is like if he knew he could get Jeff, like he knew he could get Jeff Saturday. Like they've had to have talked about this before. That's the thing. Like,
oh, for sure.
And actually, now that I remember, I think Jeff Saturday has said, like that when he retired, Irsay was like, you have a job in the front office waiting for you whenever you want it. Like whenever you want it, you got a job waiting for you. Well, shoot, he actually had a head coach job waiting for him for whenever he wanted it. One more point on this too. You're so right to say that so much goes into this. Jeff Saturday's not like, he's never led a meeting before, never led a coaching meeting. That's just crazy. Obviously high school guys, whatever, but like NFL dudes. And the only thing I would say, the only difference between you and Jeff Saturday, James, is that like Jeff Saturday at least has like some skins on the wall, like he's Super Bowl champion.
Exactly.
But even, and obviously compared to you for sure, but even to a guy like Josh McCown, McCown, look, he seems like he's a great guy, like super sharp. I'm sure he's got a great future as a coach, whatever, but he's still like veteran journeyman Josh McCown, whereas like this is a franchise legend in Jeff Saturday. So it's not like he's going to get in there and, he
was inducted into the Colts, Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's won Super Bowls with the team. So it's not as if he's going to come in there and the guys are going to be like, oh, this clown, right? Like they're not going to do that. For like the players, who's calling plays now, right? Because they fired their offensive coordinator, Marcus Brady, who wasn't calling plays, but still probably could have just moonwalked into the play calling spot. Like Reggie is our old colleague, James, at NFL Network. Reggie Wayne, is he going to put the headset on? Is he going to start calling plays? Like,
that's what was part of the story. That's what was part of the story, is that there's no play calling experience on the staff right now, and that Jeff Saturday is like literally like trying to figure that out as we are taping right now. They're trying to figure out who's going to be calling plays. And like, again, it's like Jeff this is what's so crazy. The reason that you've never heard of this happening, and the reason NFL teams, the interim coach always comes from the current staff, is because they know the playbook. You would think. But the top two guys that know the playbook, Frank Reich and the offensive coordinator that they let go, they're gone. Maybe Reggie Wayne knows all the play calls. Maybe there's somebody else in that room that knows all the play calls. Maybe, but we don't know. by the way, and still working with a second-year quarterback in Sam Ehlinger, right? Who's, again, it's not like he's a veteran, right? Like, so
you think Ehlinger really start like rest of the season? You think he really starts all the games, or do you think they go back to Matt Ryan? Do you think they go to Nick Foles at some point? Like, I think they
go to Foles. I don't think they go to Matt Ryan because of the contract. Because if he gets hurt, they got to pay him. His contract is guaranteed.
He was going to get hurt. He's already hurt. Like,
that's what I mean.
He's going to get hurt again for sure.
Which is why I think they announced that when you go through the contract and you realize that his contract is guaranteed through injury, then you're like, okay, yeah, they can't play him. They literally can't. Going to a more veteran quarterback in Nick Foles, I think that probably makes a little bit more sense. And actually, to be honest with you, that probably makes a little bit more sense in the brain of Jeff Saturday too, right? Like, oh, let's get like a traditional veteran, pocket passer type dude. And I'll say this, man, like, for sure, 100%, Jeff Saturday's pouring every ounce of effort that he has into that O-line. And that O-line, I can almost guarantee you, is going to play better as the season wears on.
Can't really play worse.
You can't. I mean, you're right, and you can't play that much worse. But again, Saturday does bring that experience, that knowledge level, and he's going to bring that focus too. I mean, look, defensive coordinators, when they become coaches, what do they spend their time on? Hey, come on, we all know they spend time on the defense. Offensive guys come in, they spend time on the offense. Okay, well, Jeff Saturday comes in, he's got no head coaching experience. Guy doesn't know anything, but he knows offensive line play. So he's going to come in and absolutely hammer focus on that offensive line. I promise you they're going to play better.